But let's get in. Prashant Paroda, Portfolio Manager, Emerging Markets at Allspring Global Investment. Prashant, thank you once again for joining us. I believe you had a conversation with the other Prashant, our in-house Prashant, post the India-US trade deal. But let me begin this conversation with...
The main point was we spoke at 1 o'clock, Prashant.
It was one for you. What about for him?
Yeah.
1 a.m. and it was the first one.
Right after the announcement.
He was... that conversation did not inconvenience Prashant. This conversation, I think, is he has to stay up late for us, right, Prashant? But he does. Thank you very much,
Thank
Prashant.
you for doing it.
No, actually, it's not too late.
It's not too late.
All right. So let's begin with, the sentiment surrounding Indian IT shares is very weak. What is your own take? Because software stocks globally are under duress. Is it warranted? Do you see a further sell-off, more valuation correction, more deflationary pressure, which puts earnings at risk? Or is it a bit overdone, according to you?
Well, if you look at just the commentary, I think it's a little bit overdone because people are projecting that AI will sort of take over tomorrow, which, is probably not going to happen. So from the IT services perspective, the growth still is very muted. So if you were to ask me, Rima, the last 3 years, if you had avoided this sector and maybe shifted to telecom or communication services in India, you have probably done really well. The risk, I think, for this sector is still in terms of top line growth. And till we see any clarity on that, I think the AI news will come and go and, stocks will kind of react to that. But it's a lot of positioning by hedge funds here, where a lot of people have been long semiconductors and short software plays. So I don't think you can make much of that at this point.
You said, right, the risk for the Indian IT companies is in terms of the top line growth. It's been very muted. But will what's happening on the AI front, agentic AI, further put pressure on the top line growth?
There is a chain of thought that it will, but so far, they're still growing top line. So we haven't seen it. So I think the proof will be in the pudding later half of the year as these companies, if some companies actually show a little bit of acceleration, I think this sector can rebound well. But if there's further slowdown, I think, it will be at stalemate. The good thing for Indian IT services versus like a lot of SaaS plays in US is that they don't come at very high valuations. They actually pay out dividends, and it's not at those high valuations that a lot of the software companies trade at in US.
Yeah, Prashant, the India market, right? FPIs, it's already starting to fizzle out. We thought at least a few days this number will be there, but of course it's. So what will it take, Prashant? And what's the feedback? I mean, you speak regularly with the investing community outside, and what's the feedback now with regards to the market here?
I think so. The key thing, Prashant, is even if you look today, you were talking about Alphabet. Alphabet announced, and they raised their capex guidance by almost 50% versus the consensus. So as long as sort of these consensus is below the capex guidance of a lot of these large mega cap players, South Korea and Taiwan will continue to do well. And I think people are positioned that way. The question really happens in the back half of the year when all of this is sort of in the consensus, what happens. So I think from the foreign investors' perspective, you have to kind of, once all these news is in the consensus, they'll look at other avenues. And India provides that structural growth story, which is not related to any of these sort of big capex plays in US.
Right. Prashant, what other macro signals are you tracking? Because on the one hand, we are looking at individual stocks and individual themes like AI, etc. But there is a fair amount of macroeconomic, geopolitical volatility as well, be it US, Iran. There is the new Fed chair, or likely to be a new Fed chair in the US, alongside the volatility that we're tracking in precious metals. So what are those signals telling you?
I think the biggest risk is going into the next 6 months is whether we do overheat a bit. So you see what happened was with this capex boom that Google, Microsoft, and all have done, is that South Korean semiconductor players are laughing all the way to the bank, and their prices have really gone vertical. So with what that means is that the other industries, which is smartphones and others, also rely on those memory chips from Samsung and SK Hynix. They are feeling the brunt of the pressure. And the same thing with metals and mining. As commodities sort of are rising, you will see, some of the margins of auto companies, while some companies will be able to pass on, others might not. So the risk, therefore, is of inflationary pressures toward the back end of the year if we overheat. And that will sort of derail the equity story from a global perspective.
Prashant, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure and good getting that perspective from you. We'll